Yeah, I think stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does overwhelm me quite a bit.
Your arguments with your brother became physical.
The silence from the palace was deafening, but behind the scenes, everything was cracking. Prince Harry didn't just issue a statement, he triggered a chain reaction that reached across borders, politics, and power structures that don't forgive mistakes.
He was being told certain things by people within his office. He had a few issues which were based not on reality.
This wasn't celebrity drama or another headline cycle. It was the kind of move that makes governments uncomfortable and families furious. One sentence dragged the British monarchy into American politics, and suddenly, Harry's life in the United States, his future in Hollywood, and whatever protection he still had from his family all started wobbling at the same time. And the most unsettling part, the people closest to him may no longer be trying to save him. Because what happened next made it clear this wasn't just reckless, it was engineered. At first glance, it looked like another carefully worded message about global security and values. But anyone familiar with Prince Harry's voice noticed something was off immediately.
He was shouting at me, I was shouting back at him. It wasn't nice, it wasn't pleasant at all, and he snapped.
The language was polished, clinical, and political. Not emotional, not personal, and definitely not spontaneous. This wasn't the tone of a man known for speaking impulsively or emotionally. More importantly, it violated the most sacred rule of the royal family: absolute political neutrality. Royals don't comment on elections, alliances, or candidates, not because they're scared, but because their power depends on silence. For decades, that silence protected the monarchy from backlash, resentment, and retaliation. By breaking it, Harry didn't just express an opinion, he turned himself into a political actor. And once that happens, neutrality is gone forever. The more analysts reread the statement, the clearer it became that this wasn't Harry talking. It was a script written in his voice. The phrasing sounded like something lifted straight from a policy memo, filled with diplomatic buzzwords and carefully balanced messaging.
And he pushed me to the floor.
He knocked you over.
He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
You cut your back.
Yeah, I cut my back. I didn't know about it at the time. But yeah, he apologized afterwards.
This mattered because Harry has never spoken like that, even when addressing serious topics. His past interviews were raw, messy, and emotional. This was calculated. That raised an uncomfortable question. If Harry didn't write it, who did? And more importantly, why would someone want him to say it now? The answer points to a larger machine surrounding him, one that doesn't care about royal tradition, immigration consequences, or family fallout. It cares about influence, optics, and leverage. And Harry, knowingly or not, became the delivery system. Behind every high-profile celebrity brand sits a web of strategists, consultants, and fixers who operate far from the spotlight. For Harry and Meghan, that network isn't just about publicity, it's about positioning. In modern celebrity culture, relevance isn't earned, it's manufactured. And political relevance is one of the fastest ways to stay visible. That's where the danger crept in. When political language gets filtered through branding teams and public relations professionals, it stops being personal expression and starts becoming messaging. Harry wasn't acting as a private individual anymore. He was being positioned as a symbol, a royal voice detached from the institution, but still trading on the title. That combination is radioactive because institutions tolerate silence, but they react aggressively to influence. The moment Harry's words entered the political arena, his status in America quietly shifted. Titles don't protect you in the US, paperwork does. Visas don't care about lineage, trauma, or intent. They care about compliance. And suddenly, Harry wasn't just a celebrity resident anymore. He was a foreign national commenting on US political direction, publicly criticizing a potential future president. That's when the tone changed behind closed doors. What once looked like activism started to resemble interference. Even supporters began asking whether Harry understood the consequences of what he was doing. Because once politics enter the equation, immigration stops being flexible. And that's when a problem that had been whispered about for years moved to the center of the conversation. For years, Harry's residency status floated in a gray zone. ignored, protected, and politely avoided. But gray zones disappear when attention arrives. His own past admissions, shared casually and publicly, now mattered in ways they never had before. Immigration law doesn't work on vibes or sympathy. It works on forms, disclosures, and consistency. And the more Harry positioned himself as a political voice, the more scrutiny followed. At that point, it no longer mattered whether consequences were fair, only whether they were enforceable. And that's what made this situation explosive. Because if rules apply equally, then Harry was exposed. And if rules don't apply equally, someone has to explain why. Either way, the spotlight was coming down hard, as legal and political. Pressure quietly intensified. Something else began unraveling far from Capitol Hill. In Hollywood, interest doesn't fade loudly, it disappears silently, and that's exactly what happened. While Harry leaned into global commentary, the industry that once welcomed him started stepping back. Invitations slowed, momentum stalled, projects stopped feeling urgent. Hollywood isn't sentimental, and it doesn't reward distraction. It rewards output. And when attention shifts away from business toward controversy, studios notice. Executives don't panic. They pause. And pausing in entertainment is often the first step toward walking away. Nothing captured that shift more brutally than a single image. Empty seats. No protests, no outrage, just absence. In an industry obsessed with buzz, silence is devastating. Expectations were high, but reality was cold. Festivals aren't victory laps, they're tests. And failing that test sends a message faster than any headline. This wasn't about one project underperforming. It was about perceived value. Because if interest were still there, the room would have been full. And the industry noticed. Everyone did. That moment quietly confirmed what insiders already suspected. The brand was wobbling, and the margin for error was gone. What happened outside the theater mattered just as much as what happened inside, because power dynamics don't hide on camera. They leak. On the red carpet, viewers didn't see a confident partnership. They saw hesitation, positioning, and control. Harry lingered on the edges while Meghan took center space, directing the flow, timing, and attention. It wasn't dramatic or explosive, it was subtle, which made it worse. Subtle dominance is harder to deny. Every pause, every delayed movement reinforced the same impression. Harry wasn't leading, he was responding. In Hollywood, optics are currency, and that moment quietly reshaped how insiders read their dynamic. When one half of a couple looks managed instead of autonomous, executives don't see strength. They see risk. Then came the moment that exposed how tightly controlled everything had become. A simple human question landed. Not political, not aggressive, just personal. And instead of warmth, the response was cold, evasive, and abrupt. The shift was instant. Smiles disappeared, body language closed. The exchange ended before it began. That reaction told the audience more than any answer ever could. It showed that relatability wasn't natural anymore. It was conditional. Information flowed only when it benefited the brand, and that contradiction didn't go unnoticed. Because you can't build a public image around openness, vulnerability, and authenticity while shutting down the moment something slips outside the script. While cameras flashed in Utah, the real tension was building an ocean away. Inside royal circles, frustration hardened into resolve. This wasn't about hurt feelings or old interviews anymore. It was about damage control. Harry's political positioning, combined with his Hollywood instability, turned him from a liability into a threat to the institution itself. And that's when the internal divide sharpened. Some still believed in quiet tolerance, hoping the storm would pass. Others believed that tolerance was the problem, because every new controversy reinforced the same reality. Silence protected the monarchy, but Harry no longer respected silence. For one figure in particular, the situation had crossed a point of no return. This wasn't emotional, it was strategic. The concern wasn't whether Harry meant harm, but whether harm was inevitable. From this perspective, intent didn't matter. Outcomes did. A royal title combined with political messaging was combustible. And the longer it continued, the harder it would be to undo. The belief forming behind palace doors was simple. If action wasn't taken now, the consequences later would be far worse. Because once governments, voters, and media start associating the monarchy with political interference, credibility collapses fast. But not everyone agreed. There was still hesitation, not weakness, but emotional conflict. The desire to preserve family, to avoid irreversible decisions, lingered. Hope has a powerful grip, especially when history is involved. The idea that reconciliation might still be possible slowed everything down. But delay has a cost. Every day without clarity allowed the narrative to spin further out of control. And that tension between sentiment and survival created a fracture that couldn't stay hidden. One side looked at the future, the other looked at the past. And Harry sat directly in the middle, pulling the structure apart without realizing it. What made this moment so dangerous wasn't any single mistake, it was timing. Politics, Hollywood, and family pressure all peaked simultaneously. There was no escape route left. Retreating from one meant confronting the others. Staying silent looked like guilt. Speaking out made things worse. Every option closed another door. And for the first time, Harry wasn't reacting to headlines. He was reacting to consequences. The safety net that once cushioned every misstep was thinning. And when protection disappears quietly, people only realize it's gone when they fall. For years, the strategy was balance. Keep the title, enjoy independence, speak freely, and avoid accountability. That model worked until it didn't, because independence without responsibility isn't freedom, it's exposure. You can't demand the authority of tradition while rejecting its limits. You can't speak like an activist while expecting institutional shielding. Eventually, the contradiction collapses under its own weight. And that's exactly what happened here. The system didn't fail Harry. The strategy failed him. As everything converges, one truth becomes unavoidable. The road ahead is shorter than it looks. The political space is hostile. Hollywood is indifferent. Family patience is exhausted. Every card has been played and none are left face down. This isn't about punishment, it's about reality. Titles don't override laws. Attention doesn't replace trust. And silence, once broken, can't be reclaimed. Whether Harry miscalculated, was misled, or simply believed he was untouchable no longer matters. The outcome will be the same. The era of half in, half out is over. And what replaces it won't be chosen, it will be enforced.